The Niagara Bible Conference. We have already seen how the Plymouth Brethren planted Darby's dumb doctrine in every Protestant denomination in the United States. Once that was accomplished, all that Satan needed was someone to make it his own and give it a little nurturing. James H. Brookes did all that and more. He helped to organize the Niagara Bible Conference and then served as its president from the time of its inception in 1878 until his death in 1897. 3 years after Brookes died, in the fall of 1900, the organization closed its doors forever. So it is not too difficult to see that he was more than likely the driving force behind it while he was alive. By regularly bringing together those who believed, preached, and taught Satan's dispensational scheme, Brookes provided a convenient way for Satan to maintain his assault on all fronts. Brookes and the men who helped him in the Niagara Bible Conference were nothing more than Satan's dupes. Evangelical critics of dispensational teaching in his day were correctly identifying dispensationalism as a brethren doctrine and warning Christians that it was a dangerous innovation. Brookes and his fellow dispensationalists took offense at the mere suggestion that their beliefs might be in error. Consequently, they fought back with a vengeance. In the following quotation, Brookes not only reveals his complete ignorance concerning the premillennial post-tribulation beliefs of the early church fathers Irenaeus and Hippolytus, he also provides a bit of insight into how difficult it would be for Satan to make headway as long as dispensational teaching continued to be identified with the brethren. They claim that the pre-tribulation rapture is the Plymouth Brethren view, and owing to the universal detestation with which this sect is held by all other sects, they use the argument with powerful effect on many shallow minds. But they forget that their own view is Plymouth Brethrenism. J. N. Darby and B. W. Newton had a quarrel more than 50 years ago. The latter, a very able and scholarly man, becoming the founder of the doctrine that the church will pass through the tribulation. Brookes' argument against his opponents stems from his own ignorance. Newton was certainly not the origin of the truth that Irenaeus and Hippolytus taught, but you can still see from the tone of Brookes' statements that Satan needed a way to shift the focus of attention away from the brethren and thereby take away one of the most potent arguments the critics of dispensationalism had. Nobody had ever heard of Darby's dispensational teaching until the brethren began preaching it far and wide. Satan hated that argument, and he knew the only way to overcome it was to make dispensationalism a part of the church at large. He had a plan whereby he intended to accomplish that, and a part of that plan involved driving true believers out of the mainline denominations and into independent churches. Now, Satan is a fool, but he is certainly not completely stupid. He knew that if dispensationalism remained restricted to only one identifiable group, the church today would view it much the same way as it does Mormon teaching. But he also knew his new non-Christian beliefs concerning Israel, the Jews, and the church could sail successfully under the radar of all those on the lookout for non-Christian sects, like the Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses, if they were broadcasted throughout the church under the guise of a prophetic system of interpretation. To accomplish that, however, he needed a way for the leaders of his new movement to meet regularly without being identified as a separate denomination. The Niagara Bible Conference provided that cover. The meetings sponsored by the Niagara Bible Conference were nothing more than a gathering of the leaders of a church within the church. And that is the way Brookes described them in The Truth. However, he told people they were the gathering of the wheat from among the tares, implying that only those who attended his conference meetings were part of the true church. That is just as Satan planned it. He knew he had to appeal directly to those who actually believed the gospel. Brookes did an incredibly good job of it. The proponents of dispensationalism continued gathering under the guise of the interdenominational Niagara Bible Conference until 1900, when the organization disbanded. As I mentioned above, the movement lost its focus almost immediately after Brookes died. Conference attendance diminished greatly, and there was increasing controversy over Darby's doctrine of the any-moment rapture. But the rapid demise of the Niagara Bible Conference is somewhat misleading. The truth is, Satan had already prepared someone else to assume the role Brookes had played. Satan had groomed yet a third man for the job of settling all controversy among dispensationalists by carefully outlining the essential doctrines that he needs folks to believe here at the end.